guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is April, and for today's video I'm sharing with you guys my top 10 favorite self-help, or as I like to refer to it, self-growth books, because not everybody needs help, but we can all use some growing in some aspects of our lives. But before we get into that, I just want to share with you guys the tea that I'm drinking today. I'm having Yogi's Echinacea Immune Support Tea. It's a really good tea. It tastes kind of like pepperminty and fruity at the same time, but very light and refreshing. It's not overly flavored or anything like that, and I've been kind of like living off this lately. I don't know what it is, why I am reaching for it so much. I think also it's where I put it in my cabinet that kind of just makes me reach for it, but I love it. Also, I remember the other day I really wasn't feeling well, and I had a few cups of this like over the course of a few days, and I felt so much better. So I don't know, I feel like it helped me. I'll link the tea in the description bar below, and then you guys can go and check it out and see what kind of ingredients they have and see if it fits you. So I wanted to do this video today just because I'm feeling a little like drabby. I don't know, I just kind of feel like down. No reason in particular, but I know that every time I feel down, I just want to reach for self-help books, especially when I need time to like unplug and just disconnect from the world around me. And so I wanted to share with you guys my top 10 favorite books and see if maybe you guys have either read them or if you have any recommendations or if you guys want to read these ones. So I have 3 physical books with me. A bunch of my books I've actually given away to people. A lot of my self-help books I tend to, once I'm done reading them and I find that I like have sort of soaked it in, even if I've read it a few times, I give it to somebody else that I feel can benefit from it. And then a lot are actually on my Nook on my iPad, so quite a few are ebooks. So I'll show you guys the physical books first, and then we'll go into the ebooks. So this one I've already talked about. This is The Mood Cure. This is by Julia Ross. I talked about this in a video because this talks all about nutritional therapy, and I hadn't realized, I mean, I kind of knew that my diet had an effect on my moods, but you don't really realize how much it has an effect on your moods and just your energy and all of that kind of stuff. And even if you know it, you don't realize how intense it is until you truly change your diet. And this has helped me just become a lot more of a healthy person overall. You know, I don't drink coffee anymore. I randomly decided to give up soda. I said I was going to give it up at the second half of the year, but I randomly just gave that up as well. So I don't drink soda anymore. I don't even have fast food anymore. It's like the weirdest changes have happened with my health, and I feel really good as far as my energy goes because of it, even though today is kind of like an off day. But this one is really good if you're somebody who's dealing with any sort of fluctuating moods, fluctuating energy, and all of that. This is another great book. This is Why Good Things Happen to Good People. This is by Stephen Post and Jill Neimark. This book, if you are a negative thinker, I really recommend this book. If you're somebody who believes in like Murphy's Law and like everything bad all happens in one day, which it kind of, I get it, because a lot of the times it's like, it just seems that way. But if you read this book, you will see why good things happen to good people, and you'll genuinely believe that good things happen to good people. So it'll just kind of change your whole outlook towards that. And it's pretty much all, I don't want to give too much away, but it's pretty much like all about the act of giving. And I know that sounds so cheesy and like, oh yeah, if you give, you feel better. But like, if you read it, you'll understand how it actually works. So I definitely recommend this book. Like I said, especially if you're a negative thinker. This is The Untethered Soul by Michael I. Singer. Everyone is obsessed with this book. I know everybody rants and raves about this. I read this for the first time years ago, and then I reread it again. I will say this is a book I recommend to somebody who's in like a pretty bad place in their life where they feel like they're really super stuck. When I had read it the first time, I was in a really bad place. I took from it and I was like, I like it. It's all about sort of like releasing and kind of just finding yourself without like searching. It's kind of just like freeing yourself from all of your limitations. It's a really good book, but I think if you're in a good spot, like right now, I'm in a pretty good spot, and I don't feel the need to like free myself from anything. I just feel like I'm already at that point where I've already done that. Now I kind of want to push myself. So this book the second time around didn't benefit me as much, but the first time around it was good. So like I said, if you're in a bad spot, this is a pretty good book. But if you feel like you're in a really good spot and now you just need like an extra kick of motivation, I don't know if this is really going to do it for you. Okay, so the next book, which is probably the first one I should have mentioned, the Bible. It's changed my life. I don't want to get too into it, but it's made a huge difference for me in the past 2 years of my life. And in case you're wondering what version I read a self-application Bible of the King James Version. I think it's like the most direct translation from the original Hebrew version, so just tossing that out there. The next one is a book that I got recommended. Now there's 2 books in this, I'll talk about that in a second, but I had gotten recommended this by one of my friends, and he recommended the book Wild at Heart by John Eldredge. Now Wild at Heart is actually intended for men, and Captivating is its like woman's counterpart, so women are supposed to be reading Captivating. I wound up reading Wild at Heart first just because that's the only one that he read, and then I read Captivating after. I have more of like a taking towards Wild at Heart. It helped me even understand men better, and not just myself, so I prefer Wild at Heart, but I think, you know, it's up to you, whatever one you feel works best for you. That book like reintroduced me to Christianity, and I know like people are probably going to get on me for being all like religious here and whatever. It's not that you need to be like super religious to want to read this or to really even understand it. It's just going to reintroduce you to your relationship with God, and it truly helps you feel again. And I mean feel everything that's sort of like building up in you, and just sort of releasing everything and just really depending on God for your life. And it's by far my favorite self-help book that I've ever read. Now the next book is the very first book I ever read. I've given it away, and then there's a bunch of like ebooks that I've recommended to people. There's so many people that I know that I've read this book because I've recommended it to them. It's called Why Does He Do That? It's by Lundy Bancroft. I read it when I was a little younger. It's about being inside the minds of angry and controlling men. If you're dealing with any either sort of abuse, or even if you feel that maybe it's not abusive but you're in a very unhealthy relationship, this book will clarify all of those questions that you have, and it will really help you get a sense of inner peace, or maybe even closure if you're going through any sort of breakup or anything like that. It is such a good book if you are really hurting. Now, this next book is another popular book, but I want to talk about this book and the entire series. It's The Secret, which you guys know is by Rhonda Byrne. The Secret I've talked about a million times on this channel. It's all about the law of attraction, like attracts like, that whole spiel, but you have to keep reading it, and I actually gave this book to my boyfriend's sister. You have to keep rereading it until you feel it. And that's what I always tell her, and so she keeps going back and forth. She hasn't even gotten through the whole thing yet because she keeps going back and forth to try to like feel it before she moves on, and I think that that's the best way to do it, because once you start to feel it, that's the whole entire purpose of the book. So it's all about the law of attraction. It's about getting all of those things, receiving all of those things that you want and that you need and that you love in your life, and sort of ridding out all of the bad things by not even thinking about it. It's like really, really cool. And that book is the first book I'd recommend reading in the series, because you need to understand what The Secret is and how to sort of implement it. And then there's the book called The Power. Then there's The Magic. I'm trying to think of any others that are in the series. It's just a really incredible series. The Magic is a really great 28-day like gratitude challenge, I guess you would refer to it as. It's a really good one, so if you've read The Secret and you haven't picked up any other ones, I definitely recommend picking up The Magic next. The next one is another John Eldredge book. He's my favorite author. It's called Walking with God. It really helped me. After I had read Wild at Heart and Captivating, it helped me sort of just like open up the doorway to my relationship with God. So I'll leave that at that. It's a really great book. The next book is called Undoing Depression. It's by Dr. Richard O'Connor. This was an incredibly informative book that I read about depression. And it was informative, and it was also relieving to me to sort of see that somebody can truly understand what you're going through when you're dealing with depression. You kind of feel like you just like flip the switch and you're on your way to a better path once you read this book, because it just really opens your mind to a lot of healthy ways about doing things. So it's a really great book. I highly recommend it. And the last book is called Waking the Dead. This is another John Eldredge book. This is if you are kind of feeling like nothing, if you feel a lot of numbness, which is really important for people who are dealing with any sort of depression or any sort of emotional issues to expose themselves to. Waking the Dead will sort of just lift that sort of like black cloud or that iron sheet that you've got over your heart and your brain, and that sort of like fog, and it will just open you to a life of living and a life of emotion, which is really important, even though a lot of people I know aren't even like crazy about that idea. They want to close off, but you can't experience joy unless you experience all of your emotions, and that includes sadness. Speaking of, I kind of learned that from Inside Out, the movie. Great movie. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. I don't watch movies ever, but that's my favorite movie ever. I could watch it every single day. So yeah, anyway, those are my favorite books. I really think you guys should take a look at least like one or two of them or all 10 of them. I just love them so much. If you guys have any book recommendations, please let me know in the comments below. I'm constantly reading. I'm always in the middle of like a bunch of books at one time, which maybe is kind of not the best idea. I'm always open to new suggestions for new books. So I hope you guys like this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button because I put out new videos every Sunday and Wednesday. I'll leave all of the titles of the books and the authors down in the description bar below. That way if you guys want to go and check those books out, you can do that. And if you guys didn't watch last Wednesday's video, go click right here. I did a review on Maybelline's Fit Me foundation, which I'm not wearing right now. I'm actually wearing their Age Rewind foundation. You guys already know how I feel about this foundation, but whatever. I'm wearing it anyway. And I will see you guys in Wednesday's video. Bye.